Thank you for inviting me to this virtual festival week of interior design and architecture. And I'm going to try and keep within the time because we're already running quite late. So my presentation is called Crafting a Building. I'm going to concentrate only on two buildings, which we have done recently. One is our own studio, which was started in 2008, and we did an extension in 2018. And another one is apartment for a single family in Pondicherry in 2019. So the first project, which is our own studio, this is the location. It is, I think we missed one. Okay. This is the, how is that? There's one slide that is not there. Okay, doesn't matter. So these are the this is located in the industrial zone of Auroville, and it was started in 1995 by our firm, and the idea was to set an example that the industrial zone, can also have doesn't have to be just gray and shut down after 5 o'clock, and it can be a livable, beautiful, harmonious environment with combination of residential and low non-polluting industries. The applied principles which we tried was to build with biologically and environmentally conscious building methods. We did north-south orientation, keeping in mind climate and principles of building biology. You can see on the screen the main wind direction and the main rain direction, which is northeast for us, and the wind direction southwest. Then we also integrated landscape, which is a very important part of our practice, is to include interior design and landscaping. And we wanted to keep all the existing trees, which were indigenous trees, on the site. So we planned around it. We used, of course, solar PV because we have a lot of power cuts, but also because it goes well with our philosophy. Recycling of all wastewater and use in gardening. So we have a wastewater recycling system, which is biological. Rainwater harvesting through contour bunding and landscaping, because we have a canyon at the end. So we have to be very careful how we route our rainwater. And large openings and adequate overhangs suitable for warm, humid climate. And also we did a biological termite treatment, which I will show you later on some slides. So next, this is the studio. In the studio, we had wanted to use actually vaulting as the whole of Yantra, the whole of community that we had designed before was the idea was to create a landscape of domes and vaults. And we started with mud bricks, and some of them eventually are also made in burnt bricks. So these are all load-bearing structures. And they have a very strong connection to the landscape, as you can see. They also use, of course, local skills and materials. So we're very lucky that in Auroville, all our building labor comes from the area around, and it is really actually in the COVID times, it has really proven itself to be of great value. We use all natural materials as much as possible. So rough black kadapa for flooring, ferrocement, tables and cupboards for less maintenance and against termites. lime mortar and shell lime plastered walls. Also, I like very much that our buildings are hidden; they are to be discovered, and they don't show you everything from the beginning. So we have a sense of surprise. Of course, there is the whole play of water with the sun, and we have an edible roof garden, which is very low tech and low maintenance. So this is how the design process, as many of you may know, is one of the most difficult things to design for your own self and your own studio especially. And you can see that I started with something very cubist and ended up with something segmental, vault, very different. I was also responding to what was there on the site already. And yeah, on the right hand side, you can see the final finished with the extension, the model. This is the plan. It's a very simple plan. You have a kind of a linear vault here, and then this we did an extension recently. So here we have a vaulted ceiling here, which is a segmental vault, and the rest is a flat slab. So it's a combination of a flat slab and semicircular and segmental vault. So you can see the semicircular vaulting and the slab. Next. And this is the extension that we created around the building. So in fact, it was a very nice experience because the extension made the building feel complete, which actually I hadn't planned. I just had some idea that I'll do an extension in future, but I never really felt, that it would actually encompass the pond in such a way that it really makes it a very complete ensemble. Next. So this is the construction method for the semicircular vaulting. So you have a sliding shutter, and then you have this small bricks, thin bricks, which we do because it also avoids plastering. It's easy to maintain, and we use China mosaic for waterproofing, and it lends a very nice warm ceiling, which hardly needs any maintenance. Next. And this is the other one, which is the segmental vault. So here you can see the construction. It is also done with a sliding shutter, which I think Suhasini had also shown some of these, how they have done. So it is a sliding shutter, which you slide every day, 1 meter, and then you get the next. This is a very important part of our practice, which is called building biology. So building biology is something that aims to find this balance between man, nature, and economy. But very important in it is about electromagnetic fields, and one part of it, which also deals with physics, biology, and chemistry. And building biology works on the principle that what is good for the human being. So the building is like a third skin. After our skin, clothes, the building is where we spend most of the time, and especially where we work long hours or where we sleep is places where you should reduce as much as possible electromagnetic fields. And therefore, because we're made of water and we react to all these unseen fields, what we have done is we have separate. So we have a direct current, which is 12 volt, and another one which is 220 volt, and we combine this in the most optimal way, so it doesn't disturb your internal energies and your internal functioning. It's a very subtle thing. Many people will not believe in it, but we have enough examples that it works. Next. So this is another very important aspect with the light and shadow, and it's always amazing, how this play of light works in the studio, and especially when there's water and there is this high ceiling, which allows a lot of light to come in. So we don't need any sort of internal lighting, even on a day like this when it is cloudy. It's only for a few hours that we would need light. Next. And this is the staircase, which is a very minimal staircase, which is also designed that it can be removed in case we want to change it somewhere else. This is fabricated in Auroville, and this leads to the terrace. Next. These are some of the interior details. So we have done, we like to do everything together. So in this case, the interior is done in ferrous cement, and we have done a lot of detailing where we can design as per our needs, as per the lighting that is required. So it is all fitted in, which reduces overall maintenance in the long term and allows us to do, some special personal touches wherever we want. Next. And the doors are actually the most important part, because we wanted to have the possibility of completely opening it or completely closing it, and have mosquito proof, have glass but security. And so actually when you open the whole building, you're just like sitting in the landscape. So it's a barrel vault where you sit in the landscape with two sides open. And all these doors were fabricated locally with local workshops here in Auroville. Next. So this is our anti-termite treatment, which we have tried since 10 years and works very well and uses no chemicals. We try not to use any chemicals which are detrimental for the earth as far as possible. And this one is very interesting because it's very simple. It's just turmeric, neem oil, and neem cake, which you mix into your plinth in the whole area around and inside, before you put your flooring and your BBLC or your brick bats or whatever you want below your flooring. And it has proved to be extremely good and not expensive and really works well. Next. This is also in our extension. We did shell lime plaster, but the whole building is done with lime mortar, which is made with kadukai, with seeds which are soaked, and then we mix it with the lime, which is slaked, and then shell lime, which we make on site. We get the shells and we keep them for months on the site, and then we mix it. And we did our own experiments because chettinad plaster or other recipes are very not always easy to make or not easily available. So we just made our own experiments, and we figured out a very simple method of mixing just a little bit of white cement, a little bit of marble powder, and shell lime, and it really works great if you wax it. And it's not as expensive as one thinks, and it's very easy to maintain. Keeps the building very cool. It's very hygroscopic. So in this climate, it works really well. Next. These are some of our recycling. So our theory is that our aim is that when we leave the site, there should be zero waste. So we reuse almost everything. All the waste on the site is reused. And we also reuse from other places around, like potteries in Auroville are happy to give us some of their waste, and we reuse some of that. At the end of the day, all the cement mortar that is left, we create precast molds for it so that we can use it in the landscaping, and we really have also fun with it at the same time. Next. So landscaping, like I said, is a very major part of our practice, and we enjoy doing it. And I think that is like the cream, on the cake. This is what actually makes the building sit in the landscape. And sometimes I really wonder, that people can, do buildings but don't do anything around it, and just, it's like a building that is landed but hasn't actually found its feet, So these are some of our ponds. As you can see, they are bio ponds. They are used very nice. They don't have any kind of mechanical system, and you can see the clarity of water. It is just with fish and with the plants. Next, so no mosquitoes. They don't have mosquitoes because there's fish and they eat all the larvae. Next. And this is our low-tech, low-maintenance edible green roof, which is made very simply with only things around it, and it is made after the building is finished. So there is no question of leakage. It's put on top, and only with 10-15 centimeter of soil, which is just made from leaves and waste soil around topsoil. We've been growing fruits and vegetables since 10 years, and it is mainly like a small prototype to showcase that it's possible to convert every little balcony or terrace into a green roof with very low maintenance. Next. This is also the energy. So we have, like I said, we have everything from in solar. Most of the energy is provided by solar panels, and we have a wastewater treatment, which is working perfectly since 1998. It's a reed bed treatment system, and it recycles the water, and we, instead of pumping it back again, we feed it back into the ground, and it feeds fruit trees. So we save on energy to pump it back and pump it back into the garden, because actually the garden is designed for no watering. So we have no gardeners in the whole community, and we actually maintain it with very little input. Next. This is a small thermal comfort survey we had done. So we had done a 5-year research in the Indo-US treaty. We had a 5-year research which was for passive energy and design. So I was part of that group for 5 years, and on the side we had just done this little thermal comfort survey of this studio, where we measured, you can see it was in June and July, which is not very comfortable months in our hot, humid climate. And we had put thermal sensors and wall surface temperature, and we were measuring. And next slide, please. And then we did a PMV, which is called the predicted mean vote. So we had actually 50 survey statements from the people who were working in the studio. And they are monitored, for the clothing they're wearing, the activity they had before, and then they give you whether they are feeling comfortable from cool to hot with 6 different variations in between. And then you mark it on the psychometric chart, which actually here you can see that most of the measurements are outside the psychometric chart. So the psychometric chart also includes if you have your personal fan, because we have no fans in the whole studio, but we have small personal fans for people so everybody can determine on their own what they like. And even though all of these measurements were outside of what would be the normal prescribed comfort zone, the occupants, most of them, as you can see in the green chart on the bottom left, most of them said they were slightly warm or they were neutral rather than, really hot. So actually it proves that what is prescribed and what is actually adaptive is very different, because human beings adapt. And now there is a new standard in India, which is called IMAC, India Model for Adaptive Thermal Comfort. And that is what it says, that you have to see what is outside temperature, and then accordingly decide the inside temperature. There is no fixed temperature which is comfortable, which used to be the case some years ago. So this was part of the research that was conducted in this 5 years, that I was part of this research with the Indo-US Joint Energy Program. Next. Yeah, some slides about so this is the studio, again, without the extension. Next. And this is the final slide on the studio. Now I just quickly have few slides on the next project, please. Can we go ahead? So this project is based in Pondicherry, and I took this because it was a very tight site. Next. And on this very tight corner plot, 7 meters by 12.5 meters, we were asked to design an apartment for a family in 4 different sections. So basically every apartment is independent for their son and their daughter and the parents. And it was a completely east-facing facade. So what you see is the east-facing facade. And because we are often, in Auroville, we enjoy a lot of space, and we have, often we are told, you work in greenfield sites, you have so much space. Even just storing materials become a problem on a location like this. So that's why I included this project. We tried to, see how we can put our principles that we follow in Auroville in our practice also there. Without compromising. And of course, this has to be a RCC frame structure. It was a very tight, and the structural engineering, and this is a very heavy road which is on the canal, which is on the main roads of Pondicherry. So we used aerocon blocks for the courtyard wall for insulation, for acoustic insulation. And we have a courtyard in it, we have a pond in it, in that small space we managed, and it's naturally ventilated, doesn't have air conditioning except in the bedrooms. And it has this green wall, and of course it's as energy efficient as possible in this kind of context. Next. So this is the location which I just described, and I took from Pondicherry. We studied a lot of the housing in Pondicherry because Pondicherry doesn't have setbacks in the old boulevard area, and so that's very nice how people have introduced small courtyards to take care of their ventilation, because they're back-to-back housing and small plots with 6-meter frontage, and 20-30 meters, it can go till 20-30 meters. So how do you create ventilation in that without losing space? Next. So this is a view from the building, how far it is from the coast, from the Bay of Bengal, from the sea. Next. And this is the location on the other side. We were very lucky to have a corner plot with an opening in the front. So this is a very prime location, I would say, in Pondicherry. Next. So this is how we resolve the plan. It has a small pond, which is just 1.1 meter wide, and it has a small thin courtyard, which is also again 1.2 meter wide. But between the two of them, they create this amazing effect, not only of ventilation, but it creates an inward-looking cocoon, which allows the ground floor to be completely, because it was meant to be meditation space for the parents and for their friends and their guests. So it was a very cocoon-like space that is created on the ground floor. And then there is a kind of duplex to their first floor. And all the bathrooms open into this courtyard, so it has natural ventilation. And as you can see, at the entrance, all the circulation is resolved in that little corner with a lift and staircase. So it requires minimum space. So it was very tight planning, but works very well. Next. And this is the section that we worked on. So you can see on the right-hand side, you can see the small courtyard allowing for light. And as we go up, we have set it back a bit. And on the front, you can see the little pond in the ground floor. And each room has a balcony. So every living room and a bedroom has a balcony. Next. So here you can see the first floor plan. You can see the balcony, which is leading off from the kitchen, living room, and the other side towards the east, towards the south. There is another one. So there's one east facing and one south facing, whereas the courtyard with the bathroom and the bedroom connected to it. Next. And that's the section where you can see, the duplex and the staircase. Next. And the relationship to the street. And that's how it looks inside. So this is that small, on the right-hand side, you see the small courtyard. And on the left-hand side, you see the meditation space with the duplex with the staircase going up. Next. And this is the pond, the little pond inside with inscription in the concrete. And the left one is the one which is on the top floor, where we have left it quite open with just a little bedroom. So you can see the sea from here. You can enjoy the breeze. And we did our little mural at the bottom, because this was mainly to come up with a strategy that people will not, use that space to pee, which is very common, or even to sleep. So we have used some other kind of finishing on the ground so that it's very rough for them. Next. And here you can see the progression of the green wall. So this was one of the main strategies to avoid the east sun from heating up the entire building. And one of the ideas was also that there are a lot of crows in Pondicherry which don't allow small birds to nest anymore. And this green wall should be used for nesting for the small birds, as well as, of course, to protect. They have flowers, they have fruits, and vegetables can be grown on this as well.